What's going on, everybody in YouTube? It's your homeboy Psyclops from Psyclops Shop on Whatnot and Instagram. Hey guys, I just posted a picture on my Instagram and it was hashtag Monster Monday, and I was going through all my comics and looking for something with a cool monster on it, and I found something that you might not really think of or associate with when you think monsters. I actually found a Punisher comic book, and this is Punisher Kill Crew issue number 2. And I think this is just the standard cover, standard trade dress. And let's take a look at this and kind of break this one down, guys. This is a really, really cool cover. So we got Punisher in like some type of a Viking helmet right there. He's got his gun, he's in his van, and he's riding down what looks to be that rainbow, I don't know what it's called, that rainbow road, that rainbow portal that goes to like Asgard and the other areas of the Marvel Universe. And then you got this crazy looking goat. It actually looks like Punisher's riding the goat and it's pulling the van behind him. So crazy, crazy stuff right there. Just an awesome cover, and it kind of made me want to just make this YouTube video and talk a little bit about Punisher. So, you know, when it comes to comic book collecting, me personally, I've never really had much of a, interest in reading Punisher. I always thought he kind of looked cool. Never really knew much about his story. I think as a kid, I had one Punisher comic book, and I got it purely based off the cover. You know, he's got like a bunch of guns, and I think he had like 2 sidekicks on the cover. I don't remember what issue it was. It was way long time ago in the 90s. But then as time went on, I remember the Garth Ennis Marvel Knights Punisher stories, and I just remember the covers. And I don't remember the artist's name. If you know the artist's name, drop it in the comments and let me know. But I remember that artist just crushed those covers. And it was kind of like a different kind of noirish, sort of more realistic take on what Frank Castle would look like. I remember that's like the first time you see him with the trench coat, and he's actually not wearing like the typical Punisher gear, like the white gloves and the white boots weren't there. He was just wearing like all black with the Punisher, the classic Punisher t-shirt. It wasn't even like a vest or anything. And I just remember it looked cool. I never really got into Marvel Knights. That was like early 2000s. I just remember it looked cool. And then I remember watching the Daredevil Netflix series, which if you guys haven't seen, you gotta watch that show. I know the newest season on Disney Plus, what's it called? Daredevil Born Again. I think they're, gonna be continuing it. But I remember the Daredevil show, season 1 was just amazing. It was just epic. And then I remember season 2, they brought in the actor from Walking Dead to play Punisher. And I thought he was just the best pick for a character. I remember it was the first time in a while I had been excited about a particular actor playing a character, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, Daredevil season 2 was just awesome. They did a great job handling Punisher, the dynamic between him and Daredevil. And then the Punisher TV shows, the season 1 and season 2. I mean, he just crushed it in both of those, and those were just great. And around the time I think the Punisher series came out is actually the first time I personally got my own firearm. So seeing him kind of not only use guns, which I always thought was just cool as a kid. Like, I mean, I feel like Punisher was kind of the original John Wick, right? I'm a huge John Wick fan. I'm a huge fan of any action movie where there's, shoot 'em ups, that sort of thing. And I feel like the Punisher character is like the OG kind of, fantasy character, or I don't know if fantasy is the right word, but you know what I mean? Like pop culture from a comic book. Just a guy with a bunch of guns and missiles and grenades and stuff, fighting crime, vigilante style. So I always liked that about him. But, I was saying is when I first started, shooting, going to the range, etc., learning how to clean my gun, all that stuff, I thought it was cool that it kind of showcases some of that in the TV show. There's actually an episode, I think in Punisher season 1, where he's actually like talking about the importance of cleaning your gun and all that sort of stuff. So I just thought it was really cool. All that to say though, I never really amassed a big Punisher comic book collection. So this is one of the few, again, that I have. And again, this is Punisher Kill Crew #2. Duggan is actually one of my favorite writers. He was doing X-Force for a little bit, and he just made things fun. I mean, look, I haven't even read this series, but this cover just screams fun, ridiculous, nonsense, action, craziness, you know. So this was a cover that I loved when I got it. And I think I only have, like, honestly guys, like one other Punisher book, and the cover's not that good on it. But yeah, another crazy thing about Frank Castle is I've kind of followed just like from a distance, like an arm's distance, like kept up with what's always going on with him in the Marvel comic universe. So I remember thinking it was really cool, and I don't remember the writer or the artist, but I remember they did like a Franken Castle series, which I thought was a cool play on his name. His real name's Frank Castle. So when they did Franken Castle, it was like he died and someone brings him back to life, and he's literally like a Frankenstein Punisher or something. I just thought that was like a funky, kind of cool idea. I remember, vividly the covers for that. And then I think at some point he becomes Ghost Rider, and maybe not becomes like Cosmic Ghost Rider or something like that. I could be wrong. I think that's what it's Frank Castle is, like Cosmic Ghost Rider, and I just think that character just looks dope. It's Ghost Rider in space, and it's actually Punisher's soul or whatever. And I think he goes on adventures where like he's protecting like a baby version of Thanos or something. And I just know the covers look sick. Clayton Crane does a lot of those covers with a slew of other artists I know. I just always think he's a dope character. I need to get some more Punisher comics, man. I need to go out and get a Punisher t-shirt. I need to go get those seasons. I don't know if they make them on a physical copy. I know obviously they're all on streaming and whatnot. You know what's crazy is I've never been a huge fan of, actually let me think about this. I'm trying to think of the movies. I wasn't planning on talking about it, but let's talk about that. The movies, the OG one with, what's the guy's name? Dolph Lundgren. I remember liking that as a kid. Now, before you say anything, before everyone gets angry, when I was a kid in the 80s and the 90s, there weren't a lot of Marvel properties in live action. Like, I don't think there were any, really. There was a lot of DC. Spawn had come out. There was Phantom. There was The Shadow. Other stuff. There was Blank Man, Mystery Men, all kinds of other stuff. But not a lot of Marvel. So I remember, like, that might have been, like, one of my first introductions was that Dolph Lundgren movie, and I liked it as a kid. There's like a whole ending scene where he fights like ninjas and stuff, and I just remember it was cool. I thought it was cool. Ninjas were a thing back then. Ninja Turtles, Three Ninjas, Surf Ninjas, Power Rangers, right? So this dude fighting ninjas, I thought it was dope. Then in the Spider-Man TV show, the 90s one, I think was the first time where Punisher comes out and they give his whole backstory. I think that's actually really where I started thinking the character was intriguing. That TV show, the 90s Spider-Man, introduced me to like the Marvel universe, because it had like all these cameos from like Punisher and Daredevil and Blade and Morbius, and all these other characters were in that show. And then fast forward a little bit to there's a Punisher, I think it's Thomas Jane did a Punisher movie, and I remember I was excited about that coming out. Now remember, this is when like Marvel starting to ramp up on movies, not the MCU, but more like the OG Tobey Maguire Spider-Man had come out, the X-Men movies were coming out, you had Blade coming out, there's the old school Fantastic Four. I say old school, it's not that old, but you know what I mean, like the first two with Jessica Alba. Did I say Daredevil? There was the Ben Affleck Daredevil. So I thought, like, I was excited when that Thomas Jane Punisher came out. But then I watched it and thought it was kind of weak. Like, I remember looking back thinking, like, man, that should have been like a rated R, just like a shoot 'em up, you know, like literally like a John Wick. It should have just been a John Wick movie. is what I thought. But the third one, I never really watched the whole thing of, and I don't even remember the actor's name, to be honest, on the third Punisher movie. I remember the third one, the guy looked the coolest. Like, I thought he had kind of this really dark, intimidating look to him, but I never watched that movie. I don't even know. I think the Thomas Jane one I just thought was so bad. I was like, I'm not gonna waste my time unless someone tells me like it's a good movie, and no one ever has, so I'm not gonna watch it. I think the current or the latest actor who portrays him in the shows, and I can't think of his name, Bernthal, right? And I know he's like a method actor and everything. Like, when they made the announcement that he was gonna be Punisher, like, people saw him out in public wearing like a Punisher jersey, right? Like, he was really getting into character for it. So I thought it was dope. So anyway, man, I'm gonna start making more of these videos. If you're not already on Whatnot, download Whatnot on your phone, where you can buy pretty much any type of collectible, whether it be comics, Pokemon, sports cards. They even sell stuff like Jordans. There's people who sell like handbags, purses, jewelry, etc. Me personally, if you don't already know, my name on Whatnot is Psyclops Shop. It's spelled just like my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be selling you guys slabs, other comics, exclusive stuff, variant stuff that you typically don't see is what I'm gonna be specializing in. So until next time, appreciate it, guys. Thank you, and hopefully I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.